Everything you said we already knew, more or less.
Well, here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
It's such a
I tell everybody, don't watch yourself on the screen, and the one asshole that does it is the one who's supposed to set the example for everybody.
It's a whole like American Psycho thing. Like,
fair enough.
I'm just an American worker.
I'll take it. All right, so I guess we have to. Is it preface or preface?
I always say preface.
I say preface.
Preface. Do you say caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
Oh, see, it's pecan.
Is it pecan?
To me.
Oh.
Pecan pie.
Do people in South Carolina say it different?
Pecan pie.
The peckin?
That's how Brian says it.
The peckin pie?
Piece of shit.
There's the first one.
Yeah, that's one. All right, that's my one.
Yeah. So before we do it, it's after a Pure show.
Correct.
And we're both extremely exhausted.
Yes.
I have to stay up for 3 hours before I have to go work a third shift. You have
a
2 hours. Yeah. You have to drive 2 hours home. Is it 2 hours?
Yeah, it's right at
2 hours.
Yeah, Columbia's not that bad.
So we were talking about extra stories, and I feel like I haven't shared my extra. I think I've been extra. Had to sit with the extras. When I went to NXT.
Intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Well, I want to hear. Let's tell yours first.
Okay. It was super random. Jake James, John Schuyler, and myself.
The king of extra work.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like him. I don't think he thinks I like him.
It's so crazy the hookup that he had with that. But
how did he get the hookup?
I have no idea.
I think I heard on a podcast. I think John's podcast that he said he just emailed Brian James, or sent an email or something. And
I'll tell you this.
I want to be a wrestler.
I met Jake at this super horrible show in Backwoods, Georgia that we used to work. It's actually the same place I met Elijah. And
that's awesome. Shout out.
Yeah, and it was like I went down there to help with a training one time, and you could just tell he had footwork. He was kind of a natural because he played football and everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you have any advice for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
go somewhere else."
But he was from South Carolina, wasn't he?
Yeah, he lived in Anderson at the time, but he was going to East Denali, Georgia, to train. It was just a little, bullshit.
Hole in the wall place.
Yeah, and we were on a loop for Bullet Bob in Pensacola. Yeah, and
I have a fun story about Bullet Bob. This podcast might just be old school, old wrestling stories.
Let's do it. I mean, I've only been doing this half my life, so it's.
I'll tell my first Yoshi Hiroshima story.
Ew. So let's not. Anyway, I got hit up at the booking, and then Jake was like, and we'll also do Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday, but they're in New Orleans and Shreveport. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So on that Pensacola show was the first time I ever saw a good John Schuyler. A good guy, John Schuyler.
Yeah.
Who, while wrestling Jackson James in Florida, started a USA chant, and the place went nuts for it. Anyway.
So John Schuyler.
Very. So we get to New Orleans or whatever, and it was pretty cool. It was the go home. It was I think 2 weeks before Rumble that year, and they were doing Cena, Lesnar, and Rollins for the belt. So that's probably dating myself. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And I'll never forget this, man. We were standing there, and they're going over the contract signing, and the producers are going all right, now Brock, we want you to run around the table and suplex Cena. And he goes, why? And I'm like, this is going to be good. So he's they're like, well, we need you to run around there and suplex Cena when he hits Rollins. And he's like, why would I run around the table? And one of the producers, who was the main guy, he's like, why in the hell wouldn't you? and Brock, without bending his knees, clear jumps this folding table and does the SmackDown versus Raw shoulder taunt.
Yeah.
And the agent goes, cool, what if your heels catch and you bust your ass through that table? And he goes, I'll just run around it. You know? And it's like, take it easy, Tommy.
All right, Tommy.
And it's like one of those things too, like, it was this random, like, just older Asian gentleman at the show. Mm-hmm. And Skylar and I convinced Jackson James that it was Mr. Fuji.
This is the greatest.
Yeah, this was back when Skylar and I got along, so it wasn't that bad. But like,
Skylar's cool when you get along with him,
yeah,
but he's a
when you don't,
complete
you don't.
douchebag.
Yeah. And
Any other time of the day.
there was another point in that series too. Like we were in catering, and like Heyman walked up to us, and he was super nice, and like, he was giving us advice and this that, and the other. And like, have you ever been around Brock?
No.
Like, I don't know if it's because he's just such a massive human or what, but like we were in catering, and when he walked in, like the oxygen level changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you can tell there's not as much oxygen in the room
Yeah.
anymore.
That's weird.
And like he walks up and he sees Paul, and it's like Paul, Skylar, and me. And he's like, "You guys mind if I sit down?" And in my head, I'm like, "I don't think so, nerd." You know, like,
Yeah.
what if I said something like that?
Oh.
But of course, like, you know, John and I were like, "Of course."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And he was super nice and everything, man. But like,
I've heard he's nice.
yeah, everybody there was really nice. Like I never had. Everybody was. We were doing the thing with Adam Rose.
Yeah.
That's how long ago this was.
Yeah,
The Rose
okay.
thing. And like, I'm not the. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, sir. I'm not
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
Like, so the first thing we went up to Adam, and I was like, "Hey, man, how we skinning this cat? What's up?" And he was like, "Okay." Like, because I don't treat, like, if you just treat them like people.
Yeah.
Because they're just people.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
whenever you fucking put that label on them, it starts tearing everything down. But the second night, I was a pirate the first night, and we did a Vine that got like 80,000 loops of him making me do squats.
Nice.
And
We need to
Vine.
find that.
I just said Vine.
Yes.
That was a Vine.
Is that, well,
That's
can
kinda
you
like-
still find Vines?
I don't know. It's kind of like that Tic Tac thing.
Yeah.
Right.
TikTok.
There you go. So
I don't even know what that is. It comes up on my timeline every once in a while.
I've got a student that's in high school, and he has like one of those Tic Tac channels, and all the time we pull it up and
Oh,
make fun of it. So I
it's
have to
horrible,
call
isn't
it Tic Tac. I'm so old.
Okay.
Like, I just can't call it Tic Tac.
I like it.
But after that, like, I thought we were gonna murder Jackson James because we get to the hotel in Shreveport, and it's like 4 a.m, and John and I shared a bed, and Jackson had the other bed because we did the 2 queens or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we've been asleep for like 2 hours, and Jackson turns on all the lights, and he's like, "Hey guys," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, both of you are snoring." And I was like,
That's what we do.
"Cool, man. If you ever wake me up again while I'm sleeping." I didn't go to bed going, "Man, I can't wait to snore tonight."
Yeah.
Good God.
That's what happens when you're tired.
Some of us are putting in work with Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here. The second night was my favorite, though, because we did, on main event, it was Adam, Tyson, and Cesaro versus New Day. Mm-hmm. And it was like the first time Big E did the dive, the spear through the apron,
Gotcha.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But we get there, and like those Rosebud costumes, like, they didn't take care of them. Like, so people
they're
would wear
terrible.
them and sweat in them all day, and then they throw them in this bin and this, that, and the other. So I let everybody get dressed, and I walked up to Adam. I was like, "Hey, Adam, man, listen, they don't have anything else my size. Like, do you want me to sit out? Do you want me to do this?" I was like, "I got some stuff in my bag that I think would work." And he was like, "As long as it's not wrestling gear, let me see it."
Yeah.
And this is when I first started doing the neons.
Gotcha.
So in my bag, I had neon pink knee-high socks. I had purple short shorts with pink compression under them, and one of my pink and blue windbreakers.
Yeah.
And I did my hair in the top knot. And I
Yeah.
walked over there, and he goes, "That was in your bag?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "I love it." So I got to be me
Yeah.
on the second night, which is the
That's
best thing.
awesome.
And it's like, everybody's a taco. All right, last story about this. So
No, I love it.
we're
Mine aren't
doing-
near this good.
there was one part where Skylar was the chicken, the full suited chicken. So I'm in my stuff. Skylar's got the chicken suit, and he's carrying around the head. And we turn this hallway, and it's real narrow. And as we turn the corner at the other end, Stephanie and Vince turn the corner. And, like, so we go up against the wall, and they stop for a second. And Stephanie's like, are you guys having a good time? Blah, blah, blah. We're like, yes, ma'am, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And Vince looks at me, and he looks at John and goes, a chicken suit, and walks off. And, like, John and I are against this wall, and I just look at it. We make eye contact, and I was just like, I don't know what life is right now.
Yeah.
Such a minuscule moment that neither one of them probably remember, you know.
No.
But it's just like it was so big to us.
Do you think he thinks about making like sound bites all the time?
No,
He just does it.
no, yeah. I don't think he realizes it. It's like me saying Bubba, or
Yeah.
you know, like you get stuck in that speech pattern. You don't realize you're doing it.
Like, do you listen to podcasts a lot?
Goddamn, pal.
Have you listened? I think it's my mom's house. It's Tom Segura and his wife.
No, but I love.
Have you
Segura.
look up on YouTube? You don't have to listen to the podcast. It's funny, but they're all super long.
Oh no, Fluff and I are gonna listen to it the whole way home.
But I just look it up on YouTube, where he's talking about Garth Brooks.
Deal. I'm in. If it's Garth Brooks, I'm in.
Dude, he talks about Garth Brooks, and he says Garth Brooks is so awkward. Like he's like, Garth Brooks has killed people. It's the fun. And when he explains it, he's like, when he explained it at first, the first time I ever saw a clip of it, and I was listening to something, because like you keep with comedians like Bert Kreischer,
Yeah.
and Tom Segura and
Right.
Joe Rogan and all that. Like I listen to Ari Shaffir. I listen to all their stuff.
Yeah.
And
I love when Joe and Ari own a podcast.
oh
together.
my God,
It's so good.
Joe Rogan's podcast is the greatest.
I don't know how he does it.
Did you watch or listen to the one with Edward Snowden?
No, not yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, man. Like
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd's a good
Dude,
one.
if you listen to anything on the way home, listen to the Dan Aykroyd Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, because I'm thoroughly convinced that Joe Rogan is the smartest human on this
I would
planet.
agree with that.
And it's not because he's smart in one thing like most people are. He has that little bit of knowledge about
Yeah.
everything. Every guest that comes on, he has something. You gotta think he does what, 3 a week,
Yeah.
and they're 3 hours each.
I read somewhere that he makes $100,000 an episode.
See, I can't even fathom that, because like you're kind of like me, like the schedule's so insane, because like I run so many classes a week, and you know I have shows and this and the other. Like there's some days, man, like I sit there and I look at my phone, I'm like, I need to pencil in when I can take a piss today.
Yeah.
And it's just like he just strolls in his studio and
It's insane. Like, well, we also work full-time jobs.
right.
I think it'd be different if we didn't work full-time jobs.
Right.
It'd be
It's kinda
like
part of the
we got
hustle.
we have to
Right,
go.
Right.
But it's Do you ever feel like, I know we're skipping subjects. Yeah. Oh, to finish the Garth Brooks
I'm
thing,
really good at that.
Fluffman. Just to finish the Garth Brooks deal, he says that if you watch Garth Brooks, he's not listening. Fluffman. Yeah. To finish the Garth Brooks thing, since you're not even on the podcast, watch Tom Segura and his wife's thing about Garth Brooks, and there's one thing that when he announced his stadium shows, and he's like, we're all what does he say at the end? We're all gonna go out and have a good time, and he smiles, and it is the most awkward smile.
God.
And every time after you watch this video, just prepare yourself, because I love Garth Brooks. Prepare yourself that you're going to think he's the weirdest human being on the face of the earth.
That's great.
But they were talking about, like, has he been so famous for so long that he doesn't know how to carry on a regular conversation
I think
with
that
someone?
happens to people.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
100%.
I knew about Garth Brooks, I thought Garth Brooks was a lady, and then it turned out to be a dude.
Was a lady?
Yeah, I thought Garth Brooks was
What's the long hair?
No, Fluff just grew up under power lines.
Oh,
I thought Garth Brooks was a lady. Like, I thought that was a lady.
like a real lady?
Like, I never seen a picture of him.
Yeah, that real feminine name of Garth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The only Garth I knew was
Dude, like, so I have my students and everything, man, and they're
So
young.
you keep talking about your students. Tell everybody on the podcast your school, where
Yeah,
it's located.
I run the Palmetto Wrestling Academy based out of Columbia, South Carolina, and I got all my guys, like, they wear their property of PWA
Yeah.
shirts. I love it, man. And you know, like, I forget how young they are sometimes, and like even to me just then, like the name like Garth, like I have to sit there and think, like, you know, most of my kids probably have never seen Wayne's World.
Oh,
You know, like.
is that true, kids?
no.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's actually seen it.
Noah's my youngest student. It's something, and like today on the road we were coming up, and like a Ludacris song came on. It's like, yeah, so Ludacris was this rapper in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Me and Sai, my 9-year-old, was watching a movie. What movie was it? Oh, it was Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
The Spider-Man
Yeah.
movie. Because I haven't seen it, and everybody's talked about how good it was. And they play like B.I.G., like Notorious, like Biggie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Sai, do you know this song? He's like, no. I was like, oh my God, pause the movie. Pause the movie. Let me educate you on rap music.
And see, my oldest is 9.
Yeah.
So Brenna, we're sitting there one day, and she's saying something, and she's got these dance moves with it, and I was like, that sounds so familiar. And I was like, what is that? And she goes, oh, it's this TikTok video that I watch. I was like, play it for me. It's to Eazy-E.
Nice.
And I'm like, wait, like, how do you know an Eazy-E song?
That's crazy. That's funny, though. The, shit, where were we at?
Yeah, man.
I lost it because I was talking about Garth Brooks.
I'll segue something real quick with Eazy-E.
Okay.
The one song as a teenager that I loved of Eazy-E was not Straight Outta Compton. It was
Rolling on the street in my 6'4".
that's what she sings. That's the part she sings.
Slapping the hose. Yeah.
But
It's the greatest.
Real G,
Yes.
Eazy-E?
Yes.
do you know why I love that song? B-Boy.
Ah.
That was B-Boy's interest music at
Yes.
CZW.
Yes.
You
I
know?
didn't even think about that. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and he would come out and do the whole like thing with it. So it's gonna be
we
it's
need to
gonna be
get B-Boy
really
in
it's
here
gonna be really cool to
before
see
he
Ethan
retires.
Case versus B-Boy at PWX.
There's two people that I want to see that I want to get into PWX. It's B-Boy and Dan Math.
Oh, Dan, Dan's next level now, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like,
I mean, I'm glad he's getting the Ring of Honor deal. I mean, but it's
Dude, he had a banger with Brash.
really. Where at? Bree.
I think it was Bree.
Yeah.
Up in New York. But man, like I'm one of those guys like we talk about all the time at school and stuff, and it's like they're always like dream matches, and like I've been so lucky because like worked with the Bucks,
Yeah.
broke in PWX around Page, broke in with Cedric,
Yeah.
like all these guys. Scorpio Sky was top of my list.
Yeah.
So now it's like okay, and Sammy, Sammy was top of my list, and I even got to be Sammy on a show.
Oh.
So then
Did you and
like,
Sammy's chemistry was insane.
yeah, all because of an injury. Do you know that?
What?
The switch thing?
Oh, was he hurt or you hurt?
No, he was hurt. He
Oh.
hurt his ankle in the match with Drake at the 16.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so like they like I've had all these guys, and I've been so lucky to work with all of them, and then it's like, okay, well, Sanjay was another one. Because like
He's such a good dude.
dude, like back in like 2002 or 3, we used to get those AOL discs,
Yes.
free trials.
Yes.
And I would just use those repetitively.
Yeah.
And just make new aims.
Of course.
And like one of the first videos I ever downloaded was like this 3-minute hype video that CCW did for Best of the Best 3.
Uh-huh.
And it had Sanjay and B-Boy on it, and I was hooked.
Oh.
And it was to a Linkin Park song too, which got me hooked on
Oh,
Linkin
of course.
Park.
Yeah.
So like all that happened and everything, and it was kind of like those memories.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to think back then, it took me an hour to download that 3-minute video. Like it's
Yeah.
not like anything now.
Yeah. We're spoiled
And-
now.
Exactly. And I was talking about that earlier, but they now I get to kind of check those things off. Like I've worked with Sanjay,
Yeah.
and then like honestly, like B-Boy is that one right now because I know that he's kind of like on his way out and he's kind of doing his thing. So like I want to, and Benny. I'll tell you a cool thing, man. When Slim got hurt, I went to the hospital, got Slim, whatever. He stayed at the hotel with us that night, and he was like, "Man, I'm just hungry." So we find this Mexican joint that was open. It's like a hole in the wall, and we get in there, and I get this message, and it said, "Hey, is Slim okay?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh shit, B-Boy just messaged me." Like, what is life?
That's crazy.
Because
Yeah.
like to me, that's really cool. Like to have these people that I looked up to and stuff, and kind of like idolized. And
Yeah.
he just shot me a message. I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, he's fine, I guess."
Yeah.
How are you tonight, B-Boy?
That's wild. I remember at WrestleCon this past year. This is just going to sound like us putting ourselves over, but it's just ridiculous where we are, like
Yeah.
in wrestling,
Yeah.
in life, if per se. Like we had the idea to bring Arquette in,
Yeah.
and I text Sammy, which is a hit or miss either time.
It's
Like
always a miss.
yeah. Well, he just something like I texted him after he won the belt, and I was
such
like,
a
"Hey
busy
man,
dude.
yeah." I said, "Hey man, I just want to say congrats. You deserve it."
Yeah.
And like right after, thank you, man. I appreciate everything you helped me with.
He happened to have his phone in his hand
Exactly,
at that time.
exactly.
You know, like
the funny thing about Sammy is whenever I went out for a Revolver show to help him like show him how I did production and all this and
Yeah.
that. And I came back and I was texting him again, and then I saw him at WrestleCon the next year. I said, Sammy, this was in Orlando. I said, Sammy, how about you answer my text message when I text you if I need something?
You know,
'Cause I'm and
you know.
he's like, where'd you text me? And he pulled out his phone and he had like 239 text messages. I was like, say no more, Sammy. I completely understand.
Yeah.
My fault. I apologize. But
you know that WrestleCon in Orlando.
yes,
One of the coolest things, I got to work with Mascarilla Sagrada,
yes,
and I literally carried him to the back.
I remember that. What was that?
He spoke.
What was that? What show was that?
It was Best of the Best.
Yes. Okay.
And we were in like the Opportunity Scramble or whatever,
Yes.
like RSP
Yes.
and all those guys.
Because he got hurt,
Yeah, he got hurt on the last moonsault.
and then you carried. I remember that now. Okay.
He was so grateful.
Dude, it's insane.
He spoke so much better English when we got to the back afterwards.
Really? I remember I think I've told this on the podcast before, in Miami. No, I'm sorry, it was San Jose. I was putting up lights. This is before Mike would pay for people to do lighting.
Right.
I was putting up lights, and Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian came up to me. And I knew Christopher Daniels from when I worked in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, Patrick, is there any way we can come out to Legion of Doom's music? And I was like, yeah, or no. It was, what did they come out to? Was it Iron Man?
Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah. So he said, is there any way, because we're putting on the face paint. This is when him and Kazarian was doing the face paint.
Yeah.
The LOD face paint stuff. I was like, yeah, man, yeah. So they walk off, and I go back to the thing, and this little Chinese guy comes up to me. Japanese guy comes up to me. That's fucking horrible. I got to beat that out. This Japanese guy comes up to me. Especially when I tell you who it is. I feel like it's just a douchebag. But, and he's like, Patrick. And I was like, yes, sir. He goes, you do music? And I said, yes. He goes, do you have Liger music? And I was like, yes. He goes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And he walked off, and I was like, that was cool. He was so gracious. I was like, holy shit, that was Liger.
Dude.
And I was like, oh, and then I thought about, like, this guy has been everywhere, done everything, and he is so like gracious and
Tag
humble.
with him.
And but then we book him and meet him again. He's the best,
Absolute best.
the best. And that's what Kevin said. Kevin's like, oh, Liger's gonna take the heat, and he's gonna
He fought us.
really to take.
Yeah.
That's what Kevin
I was
told
like,
me.
I was like, I'll take heat. And he was like, he told Skyler, he was like, small heat. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, yeah. And he goes, talk to me. Long heat. And I was like, I'll take it. And he goes, shh. I take it. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm.
One of the funniest stories from Legend.
I guess I'll take a hot tag from
Yeah.
Liger.
The funniest stories from Legend is it was time for him to do his meet and greet. And Brian's like, can you go get Liger? I was like, yeah. So I go to his locker room. When I knock on his door, he's like, come in. I open the door. He's sitting there with the Liger mask, just brushing the hair. Just looking at me. And I was like, you ready for meet and greet? He said, oh, yes. He's like, one second.
Dude, what you don't understand, and this is something that
greatest.
we haven't told you, is like the way the Legend thing was set up, it was such a long tunnel.
Yes.
Whenever we were on the other side, waiting for the match before us to end, I look over, I was telling Liger, I was like, I love the dancing video of you and Tanahashi. And he goes, oh, yeah, like this? And me and him start doing it. We're doing the running man.
That's
like,
the greatest.
We're doing it in the back, and I'm just like, I don't.
What is life?
And then the revolt goes out, and when the revolt goes out, I start doing air drums, and I look over, and Jushin fucking Liger is playing the air guitar, and he's just like, get down, his cape's flowing.
Dude, it's
He's
the
Down,
greatest.
Skylar's like pretending he's singing, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm gonna take my boots off after this. I'm just gonna leave them in the ring. I'm good.
I remember you guys went out, and you were standing there. We were waiting to hit his music, letting it like just simmer for a minute. And Hector goes, Patrick, and I go, what? He goes, and I turn and I look, and all the fog is there, and that light shining through. And I got a picture on my phone.
You got a picture of it, yeah.
And he's just
he looks like Shredder. He looks like
not
Super
moving
Shredder.
at all. Just and you see the silhouette of him. And then and he goes and makes the turn. I was just like, dude, this is the greatest ever.
Dutch got a great shot like this. Skylar and I at the end of the ramp, and it's right between us. And the music hitting the do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
And he runs through, right? And I look at John, and I was like, this is happening. And John goes, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a surreal
ridiculous
thing to tag with Liger. Like, just being a dude from the Carolinas.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's how I felt. Like, one thing, and I know, like, the next week's episode is me and Brian talking about New Japan and, like, how we got into that and how the New York tour and Boston. One of the craziest moments, I never get emotional about anything. When it comes to, like, stuff, I show up to the shows. I'm like, you know what? I'm here to do a job. I'm going to do it the best of my ability. Go to the next town. I was sitting in Hammerstein. And,
that's so cool.
Dude, and I was sitting there, and nobody was around me. And I went, and I remember, I think it was Pierce and maybe Brad Wilson. We went up to sit where JBL and all them sat. One night stand. And I was like, cool. So I walked up there, and I just sat by myself. And it just freaking hit me.
That's wild, dude.
And I was started tearing up, and like tears coming down my eyes, and I was just like, what? Like, how did I get here? Like, and then I I couldn't text Brian because I was gonna see him, so I was trying to figure out who I was gonna text. Like, I have to get my mind right. I have to send some message, something. So I text Mike Makikio.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey man, just so you know, because when we left for the trip, they had told me they were bringing in TVSI people to do the live stream at Hammerstein. So forever, I was like, I'm not doing anything, so I'm just going to find a spot and enjoy the show and just check it out.
And
then in Boston, Shizuki was like, Patrick, are you okay to edit tomorrow for live stream? And I was like, yes, I'd love to do it.
Why, yes.
And she walks off, and I'm like, what? So I'm like, I text Mike, and I say, hey, man, just so you know, I'm editing a live stream on New Japan World from Hammerstein Ballroom tonight. This wouldn't be possible if you wouldn't have given me the opportunities that you gave me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And in classic fucking Mike fashion, he texts me back like 2 minutes later, and he said, cream always rises to the top. You just have to stick with it. That's it. And I told him when I saw him like face to face the next time, I was like, you gave me the best message I could ever get. Because as soon as he sent that and I read it, I was like, game on, boys.
Yeah.
And then I sit in this big ass TV control room with like 10 monitors, and I'm using 4 buttons.
That's sweet though, man. Like,
But it's just like that. Like, you go through pieces, like times like that, and you're like, what? Like, even if I don't do anything over this, like, how did I get here?
So when we did Grady Cole and we did the Legend show, it was just kind of like one of those things, like all my guys were there. We had all hands on deck. And like when we walked in and it was an empty building, I stood in the middle of the building and I just kind of looked around and I was like, I don't, it's not like a nervousness anymore. Like I always kind of feel like I'm ready. So like even those moments, but like, it's so weird how long it takes for a moment to get here, or how the shitty times seem to last forever. But like that day at Legend, even though everything that went on, all the stuff, just the whole show in general, it flew by.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's one of those things, like it's so surreal to me that, we kind of get these opportunities and we get all these options to do this stuff. Like you guys get the New Japan stuff, or like even just the stuff of like working with Sammy and working with Scorpio, and it's all stuff that wouldn't happen if we didn't have this platform like regularly.
Yeah. Well, it's
Or like even these shows, man. Like Pure is so cool to me because I was on the original Pure,
yeah.
and
I remember the concept for the original Pure.
Elijah and I wrestled a North Carolina guy and James Drake.
Yeah,
You know,
I remember. That's when I became a Drake believer.
yeah, and it was one of those things too. Like Drake had quit before that, and I was like, listen. I ain't got time for your bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
You got to get back out here. Mm-hmm. And, and one of the things that happened with us is, like, starting in 2004, thankfully, like, Lyle was very ahead of the curve. He was way ahead of the game. And because he was tape trading the old Rev Pro shows in SoCal.
Ah, Daniel
So it
Bryan's
was like-
company.
No. It
was
like,
Dragon.
Yeah, it was like
It was
Dragon.
before
was
they
on it.
became PWG.
Exactly.
It was
They
in
ran
the
that
flea
Franken
market.
Sons. Yeah.
Yeah,
They were Franken
okay.
Sons. So like Scorpio was there, Chris Bosch,
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. and all
One of
these
my
guys.
favorites who quit before like they all got huge is Scott Lost.
Scott Lost.
Oh.
Yeah.
But apparently he's some ridiculous like comic book artist.
Yeah, he works for Marvel.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
That's
He's
what I
done
heard
well for
anyway.
himself.
That's what I heard anyway.
Dude, he's like
Chris
he was my
Bosch?
favorite. Chris
I
Bosch
asked
was
about
one of my
Chris Bosch.
favorites.
He got out of wrestling. I think he said he got religious and he runs a farm in Texas.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I asked the same thing about Quicksilver. That was my one question for Scorpio. I was like, man, what happened to Quicksilver? He got like a staph or a knee injury or something like that. And then, no, what it was, he had to have like a surgery and got staph or something like that.
Gotcha.
And
That's just like Excalibur. He's had too
Scary.
many concussions.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, Excalibur, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about it?
He knows how to choke people out.
Yeah, I heard. Everybody's a badass until somebody's
love
not
him, dude.
underlining your name. And then, like, those old Rev Pro shows, he was tape trading, and, like, I would get IWA Mid-South tapes and all this stuff, and that was when they had AJ and
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan and Joe and all these guys. And, like, we'd watch that, and, like, being in North Carolina, nobody wanted to do anything.
Yeah. It was all like
And then the guys
NWA
would-
Mid-Atlantic shows.
Yeah, and the guys would want to bury you if you wanted to work hard.
Yeah.
Because they thought you were still in their spot. So we ate so much shit, dude. Like,
I'm sure.
to the point, it would be like Drake and I would work each other on a show, and we get in the back, and the guys would be like, well, that was just horrible. Y'all went out there, and y'all did all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do.
Like,
yeah.
and it baffled me that this was post-ECW. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like guys like Hamrick were around. And, we had Chris Hamrick.
Yeah.
I got a video of Chris Hamrick from like 1996, and him and the guy that helped with me a lot. They're working this random show in Tennessee, and they're doing springboard ranas, all this stuff.
Yeah.
In '96, like
Yeah.
that was unheard
It's like Omega.
on our indie scene. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
if you ever watch, like a lot of people,
people buried Omega.
like
you
some
know,
people are on top of the Omega thing from like the original Omega. But if you watch any of those tapes or any of those shows, they're insane.
Bruh, first name Sham,
Insane. Yeah.
last name Payne.
Exactly.
You know.
Dude, he is hilarious in real life.
So Marty's so funny, dude.
It's not a character, brother.
But it was always stuff like that, and we got super buried all the time, and then it was like,
I remember those days.
and honestly, whenever we got the opportunity at PWX, I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but like when we got on PWX, it was still at it was back when Tyshawn ran it, so it was.
I mean, it was a joint show that me and him did, wasn't it?
Chop House. No, that was like the second or third show we did.
Okay.
But it was that I think it was
remember
called the
that
Chop
show.
House or something like that.
Chop Shop.
Chop Shop. It had big, huge concrete walls.
Yes.
And we did a seminar with.
It's where they did Rise of a Champion one year.
Yeah.
With
like,
Adam Cole.
The first show we worked was Adam Cole and Caleb in the main event.
Oh, that's Rise of a Champion.
You know what I mean? So we did a seminar, and they were like, well, we're going to pick the best two guys from the seminar. Well, they picked Elijah and I. And we had been tagging, doing small stuff, and went to go get ready. And the only gear we had with us was our matching sets, but different colors. So we were going to do that. Because opportunity is opportunity. And we were getting ready. Eddie and Roddy are big tag guys. So they were like, oh, you guys are a tag team? I'm like, yeah. So they found another tag team that was there, put us against them, and we had, a decent match. But with the caliber of guys that were already here,
Yeah.
I was ready.
Yeah.
and Elijah trained with Fox and Uha and all those guys, so he was ready. So it was a lot easier. So it was a lot easier for us to adapt because we were kind of already ready for that. But I was talking to Roddy about this at a house show not long ago, and I was like, hey, man, just like a heads up. Like, I don't know if you remember or not. And I was like, I literally would be doing none of this if you didn't choose me out of a seminar.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, like,
I love Roddy.
no worries.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, too. Like, I'll tell you the thing that got us, man, and I preach this to my guys, if you're doing this for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Because, like, to grind on the indies, like, not everybody is super lucky. The first 6 months that we worked PWX, we didn't get paid.
Oh, I believe that.
We were doing setup, teardown, all this stuff. And then Brian's freaking out. Why are you stomping
This is
away
the
in khakis?
Tyshawn way,
This was
Brian.
Tyshawn. This was back in the day, man.
Yeah, this is before you.
Way before you. Yeah, bullshit. So then and it was like literally like we were doing Tremont Music Hall and this and the other. Well, we got paired up.
Was I there? Was I there yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And we were
Oh,
doing.
this is right when I was running Evo.
Yeah,
and
you
I
were
was
running
like,
Evo.
this is right at the end of Evo.
Yep.
Okay.
So the first couple of shows or whatever, they had us against this one tag team from that same match. Well, after like the
Who was it?
third
Do you remember
show-
who the tag team
Yeah,
was?
it was Caden Sade and Matt Madsen.
I remember Matt Madsen.
Elements of Wrestling. That was their tag
Yes.
name.
Okay. I'm with you.
And like after a couple of shows, they came to us and they were like, "Hey, look, we're gonna ask for X amount, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So they went to Ty and they asked for what it was, and Ty goes, "Okay, man, thank you guys." And he comes to us and he goes, "What do you guys need to be here?" And I was like, "Whatever you think we're worth."
He said $10.
Straight up. Yeah, we started getting 20.
20,
So
yeah.
like, but at the time, man, all we wanted was that opportunity.
But that's how it worked. Like
But
anybody
there's-
anybody listening that tries to judge Ty for doing that, that's how it worked back then.
Yeah, no, legit. Even 6-7 years ago, wrestling's completely different.
Yes.
It's a business now. Like
Yeah.
we see it as a business, and like realistically at that point in time, like I was used to that. Like my guys, thankfully because of the business they're in now, my guys are getting paid. They're getting taken care of.
Yeah.
I wrestled for like 3 years, 4 years before I ever got paid
Yeah.
something. And I'm talking about, dude, back then, this was before gas went up. So I was doing 5-6 shows a week and not getting paid.
Whoa.
Right?
Well,
But like, it's insane that it was like
But
that.
just like it's like an opportunity.
Exactly. So like when we got here and I was just like, I told Elijah, I was like, listen, man, we both have good jobs. Let's just keep doing our jobs. Let's take this opportunity. It'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
And it really has.
It's true.
Tenfold. Because of the experience that I have here, I'm able to work other bigger companies. I'm able to get my name out, which makes people want to come to PWA. And it's like just this long standing thing that like I've literally created a brand.
Yeah.
And that's like always been the main goal.
And you create it through your hard work.
Exactly. And like the way Lyle trained me, like he was always like, "What's your main goal?" And I was like, "Well, I want to teach.
Yeah.
I'm really like I feel like I'm really good at teaching other
Yeah,
human beings
I'll
how
agree
to
with
do
that.
this." So, one thing that I really like, man, about teaching is like you kind of have to understand everybody wants to be a pro wrestler, but
Every
everybody-
fan wants to be a pro
yeah.
wrestler.
and everybody that wants to be a pro wrestler is different.
Yeah.
Nobody learns the same way.
Yeah.
And like I literally take that time to figure out how each person learns and
Yeah.
how each person moves and I tell them straight up, like, you'll give up on yourself long before I give up on you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got people that, they're on their second or third turn of going through a class because it takes them longer to grasp it.
Yeah.
And which I'm cool with. That's not a problem.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
in and give me 100%. That's all I need.
Yeah. As long as you give the effort,
Exactly.
I'll get you where you're wanting to go. I'll point you in the right direction.
And
And that's well. Do you find that? Do you find that that's the hardest piece of it? Is if I taught, I'd feel like the hardest concept for me to grasp is if you see somebody that has so much potential but
Right.
never gives full effort.
all the time. And here's why.
That would drive me absolutely
Because
crazy.
a lot of the people that do have a skill set, if they're a good talker, if they're already athletic, this, that, and the other, at some point in time, they've been babied.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you.
And like I have 2 students right now. One's like 6'10", Big dude. His girlfriend wrestles. She's just like a cute little girl.
Yeah.
And they went through a training program, and then they came down to us.
Gotcha.
And
So they knew nothing when they got to you.
like to the
They
point
knew
where
-5.
yeah, and they're like, "Wow, we got robbed,"
Yeah.
and they did.
That's the sad part.
Yeah, and like the bad thing about her, man, and it's so frustrating to me, is that these guys southerned her up, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna do body slams." Well, Sammy can't do it because it's inappropriate for a guy to body slam a girl. Listen, Sue Young has probably hit me harder than any human being
Oh,
on this
yeah.
planet.
I believe that.
So I train all my women just like the men.
Yeah.
There are no, and I have to get onto my guys because guys will come in and they'll be a little lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, all right, release, lock up with, like James Johnson's always at the school. I'm like, lock
Mm-hmm.
up with James. And they go way harder with James. I was like, if you lock up with her any different than you lock up with James, you're sitting out the rest of the class.
Yeah.
Because there is no.
I need to come down to one of your classes one day.
Absolutely, anytime. And there's no difference between the men and women anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is how it should be.
yeah, because like the women that are really good are the ones that either one came out of the PC or two, they wrestled the men on the indies.
Yes.
Like Ruby,
yes.
Heidi's so good.
Yeah.
Shotzi is so good.
Yep.
Like Lindsay and all that, because they work with guys all the time.
Well, look at Tessa and
Tessa.
Savannah.
Yeah.
And like people that George has
Tessa
had a hand in.
main evented a TNA.
Yeah.
Like Mania.
Bound,
right? Wasn't
well, not Bound for Glory, but
Slammiversary,
yeah.
right?
But
Is
she's
that
about
the-
to main event another one with Sammy for the title. That's insane.
Yeah, in 2019. Now imagine pitching.
I remember when young,
imagine pitching that 10
naive
years
Tessa
ago.
shows up and is like, oh, hey, I want to wrestle.
Yeah. Now imagine pitching that 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Would never happen. Or imagine pitching an all women's pay per view on the network. Or imagine saying that the women of WWE are going to main event a pay per view. Would never happen.
Well, you look at women's matches now sometimes go harder than men's matches. Most of the time, I should say.
Yeah.
Dude, that one person that doesn't get enough credit that I love that's on WTV is Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
That girl is so good at professional wrestling.
And she's such a heel. God, she's
Yes.
So,
Yes. I feel like I'm starting to fall into Bailey,
yeah.
her heel work.
Okay.
I'm starting to feel it.
I feel so bad because there's a lot of points in times like I end up like binge watching 3 months worth of wrestling at a time because like
Yeah.
Monday nights I teach class. So like Mondays, I go in at 10. I teach a class at 11. I teach from 11 to 2. I have a break, and in that break, I invite guys to come down, like Mason Miles, Paul
Yeah.
Scott, and all them, and they come in and do their in-ring work.
Yeah.
And then I start my next class at 6:30. I'm there till like 11.
Yeah.
You know. And I'll tell you one thing.
Long
man.
day.
Yeah, and I do that on Monday and Wednesdays, and
Gotcha.
then Tuesdays I only have the evening class. But we were talking about like how guys learn and this and the other. One thing that I do, and I know a lot of people don't do, my guys are required to have notebooks.
Gotcha.
Not
I like
just for
that.
notes, but each class they have to have 3 questions, and we do a Q&A at the end of every class.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's just everybody sits in the ring. I go on 12 to 15-minute tangents about anything but their questions.
Yeah.
I'm bad about
Typical
that.
Ethan fashion.
Yeah, typical Ethan fashion. So back to what we were originally talking about. Taking that gamble.
I don't remember what we were originally talking
It
about.
just hit me. So taking that gamble on ourselves. Like Elijah and I could have been stuck working nothing shows in North Carolina and Georgia.
Yeah.
But taking that gamble and taking that risk, like I won the 16. I've had these awesome chases and storylines, and I've won the championship, and Elijah won the championship, and this, that, and the other. And it was just kind of like, it was so serendipitous whenever he won it.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
What was so crazy about when he won it was like 8 months earlier, me and him were having a conversation about how he was going to quit wrestling.
yeah,
And I was like, well, then you pitched the idea. I don't know if anybody knows this.
yeah,
You pitched the idea for the syndicate.
yeah.
And I was like, I love the idea, but I don't see you doing it. And you hated me for it.
Yeah, I pitched another one too. I pitched whenever I broke my ankle. I had another group that I wanted to run, and I was like, I'll just come back and I'll be evil. And Patrick was like, yeah, good luck with that shit. So that's cool. We're going to do anything but that.
Yeah.
And then, but
I remember when I remember telling you, like, I love the idea, but I think it's better for Elijah. And you're being like, what?
And there was the point, man, like where we did the split, but nobody turned on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he fizzled quickly because, and Elijah and I have talked about this now, there was a point where he was kind of relying on my charisma.
Yeah.
And he just showed up and was muscle.
Yeah.
Whenever we split,
He didn't know where
he didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember Kung Fu,
I remember
Elijah?
that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brother. Yeah. So then when we did the turn, the headband.
I do remember that.
And then
I forgot about it until you just said something about it.
And then after that, like there was a point, and I remember the talk with me, and it was like, hey, look, man, like, we hope you're not upset, but we just don't have anything for Elijah.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have anything for this character, so it's not hitting on anything. I was like, let him turn on me.
Mm.
You know, like, that's where we need to go.
Yeah.
And as soon as he turned on me, something happened.
Yeah. He found himself.
And quickly. And, like, whenever that last, like, the championship run and everything, I was just like, where the hell was this?
Yeah.
During worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You know, like, worst case scenario was my bread and butter. Like, I love tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks now because, like, I like doing small tag stuff with my kids and stuff like that. But, like, other than that, like, I won't commit to a tag team because it's not Elijah.
Yeah.
You know, because that's really
that.
hard to do when you have.
Well, you expect the results that you had with him, and you'll never get those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was to the point where, like, I could look at him and know what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane to have that with somebody. And, and all of it happened all by accident. All of it.
I remember one quick story about you and Elijah. I can't remember the name of the show. It was the last show that I ever ran for Evo.
The Lobby of Cabarrus.
Yes.
The arena was our locker room.
Yes.
So that huge arena.
The huge arena, 5,000-seat arena, was the locker room.
Yeah.
And we were running the show in the lobby of the arena.
That was the night we got paired with Tommy.
Yes. We paired you with Tommy, and then the music that you wanted to use was the circus music. No, not the circus music.
It was the
the
Linkin
circus
Park song.
music, yes.
Yeah.
So we were like, you can't use that music. And you guys were like, well, what about money for nothing?
Yeah, we had just listened to it that day.
And we were like, yeah, we can use that. Just think about that.
And we faced Zane Riley and Billy Brash.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because the girls no-showed. Or no, the girls got there late.
Yes.
And it was supposed to be like Billy and one of the girls and Zane and one of the girls.
Yeah.
And y'all ended up making
it. Was Angelina Love and Amber O'Neil.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The craziest thing about that night was Zach had retired.
Yeah.
Zach Salvation. And the Briscoes were on that show.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And we did that deal. I'll never forget this because it's on YouTube if you look up like Pro Wrestling Evo, if it's still there. And Corey did the whole speech for Zach, and everybody, the crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Zach! Thank you, Zach!" And everybody came out and surrounded the ring, and the freaking Briscoes are out there slapping the mat.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I will never forget that because they had no clue who he was.
I'm going to tell you a story, and if you feel like you need to take it out, you can.
Okay.
We're in the back.
I'm not taking it out, just so you know. As long as you know that I'm not taking it out.
Hopefully he doesn't get upset with me.
Okay.
We had a really weird meeting and connection with the Briscoes.
Okay.
They liked Elijah and I for some reason.
Okay.
Right. But that was my first encounter with them.
Mm-hmm.
Was there.
I love the Briscoes.
And Jay goes, "Hey, has anybody got pre-workout?"
I think I've heard this story.
One of the guys was like, "Yeah." It was like C4.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, I just need a scoop." And he takes the scoop and he pours it in his hand. And he goes, and like I'm just standing there and I'm like, did he just snort pre-workout? Because I know how I feel when I take it.
Yeah.
But like he did it and walked through the curtain. Like it was all one motion. I was just like, this is about to be a banger. He's about to be so hyped.
I have two Jay Briscoe. Well, I have one Jay Briscoe story. Then I have a pre-workout story. Actually, they were both on the same trip. My first WrestleMania I ever went to was in Atlanta. I worked for Ring of Honor. So I
was so drunk that weekend.
I filmed the center stage shows.
Yeah.
For Ring of Honor. The first ones they ever did.
I was there.
When Jay Briscoe and Rhett Titus in the big bloodbath match.
Yeah.
They did like 4 or 5 reverse Irish whips
Yeah.
to the barricade, kept switching, and finally let go, and Jay Briscoe murdered me with the camera. He murdered me up against the guardrail, and he grabs the guardrail, and he like hits me, and he looks down, and I look up at him. He goes, "You all right, Pat?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Get out of the fucking way." Then he got up and went, and I was like, "I love this dude." Because he could have just murdered me and just walked off.
Dude, that was the night he did the mist with his own blood.
Yes. And it got on Jake, and Jake was like, "What the fuck?" Because Jake was the other cameraman. And
You know what-
second, go ahead.
You know what's so crazy about that show? Those shows, like the second one, the Saturday show, I think it was, the morning show. The opening match to that was Future Shock versus Kings of Wrestling.
Yes.
Think about that.
Ooh, that's
So it was
true. I
Colin,
forgot.
Colin O'Reilly versus Hero and Cesaro. Like, that's just so insane to me that
That's
Yeah,
the first
that was
time
their opener.
me and Kevin Kelly picked, because that was the first time I ever met Kevin Kelly.
what is these cookies is on the ground?
It's amazing. How'd he get over here?
I don't know. Danny hit her with a book.
Yeah,
That's why.
and the plate shattered. The me and Cedric and Colt and somebody were sitting in the stands talking, and Kevin Kelly walks up through one of the walkways to walk into what's it called, and he sits down. Had only seen him at WWE, like in some of Ring of Honor. Starts talking, and he gave Cedric, I still can't remember. It's like Chocolate Thunder or something like that, like some nickname. And Cedric's like, "I like it," and he goes, "You can have it," and then he walks off. And I tell him all the time, I was like, "That was my first time ever meeting you, Kevin." He's like, "I'm sorry."
That's another one that's kind of like underplayed. So like, Kevin gives me a ton of advice.
Yeah,
at all
Kevin's
times,
such a
and he's
good dude.
Such a good dude. But like, he gave me a compliment one time, and I was like, "Ah, man, used to work with The Rock. That's pretty cool."
Yeah,
And then there was one night, I don't remember what match it was, but like he gave me my compliment first, and he was like, "Yo, did this, and this really good." He goes, "But," I was like, "No, we're good," and I walked off. I'm gonna leave it on that high note.
the first time Kevin worked with us, it was night 2 of X16, is when he told me, like, he took me and Brian. Have you heard the story about how he started working with us?
No, I wasn't there that night, though.
So, like, he did this. Did he do a seminar earlier that day? So he did the seminar, and he came up to me. He goes, "Patrick, why do you do stuff on TV?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "You got a good look. You should do stuff on TV. Can you talk?" And I was like, I'm okay. I'm not the greatest." So yeah, you need to like be the face of the management on TV. And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "You could be on, like, I could see you being on TV." And I was like, "Well, can you give me a job?" He's like, "Why do you want a job?" And I said, "That's what we're out here for, right?" He's like, "Why don't you turn this into your job?" And I was like, "Oh,
Well,
yes." Like, "Oh, okay." Well, the story about how he started
Kelly
working
said.
with us is he did the X16 tournaments with us. The way that came about was John Schuyler ran into him at WrestleCade and was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to commentary. Would you be interested?" He's like, "Yeah, just to give him my number." So I gave Brian, he gave me the number, he gave Brian the number. Brian reached out to him, came with a price, brought him down. After X16, I hope Kevin doesn't get mad I'm telling this story. He's like, "Can I talk to you guys real quick?" And I was like, "Oh, shit, Brian's done messed up his pay or something." So we go into the little office at Cabarrus, just us 3. And I know Bob was there too, wasn't he? Yeah, Bob was there. And he goes, "I really want to work with you guys." And I looked at Brian, and I looked at him. He goes, "You guys have something special here. And I think I can help." He's like, "We don't have to talk about the money now. We don't have to come up with a deal now. Just know that I want to work with you guys as much as I can.
Right.
I'll be in Japan, but I want to help you guys as much as I can. I want to work with you guys because I like what you're doing here. Let's give this country hell." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And then he walked out. That was the start of the relationship we have with Kevin.
Wow.
And now he's like one of my real good friends that I can just text him like, "Kevin, I need some advice. Can I give you a call?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be available in like 20 minutes. Just give me a shout." It's ridiculous.
And it's so weird because it's like that thing, like you can't take it for granted because, like, there was one thing. It was a match I hit, and he was like, "Wow, what a drop kick!" And I was like, "He calls Okada's drop kicks."
Yeah.
So
Another another thing about Kevin is after like 10 minutes after the stream was over at Hammerstein, I got a text from him. He said, "You started off too fast, but if you watch, what did he say? You started off too fast, but if you watch the Kenta, what was the guy's name that Kenta wrestled in Hammerstein? I can't remember. He said, if you watch the Kenta match, you told that story perfect. That's why you're going to have a job at New Japan."
Oh, yeah.
That was his text to me.
That's cool.
I was just like, dude.
What is life?
Yeah,
You know?
like this is ridiculous. But okay, this is my what is life moment. So I go down and I get invited down to NXT. This is my extra work. So I'm not going to be on Zane's podcast because I'm giving it up right here.
Right.
I haven't talked to anybody about this like on a public forum.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so this is the first.
I'm glad I wear my hoodie and my good sandals.
I go I'm invited by Gabe down to NXT.
Right.
I get there. I walk in. I have no idea where I'm going. I see Mia Yim.
Yep.
And what's the manager's name? Stokely.
Stokely, Hathaway. Yeah.
Mia Yim and Stokely. And I'm like, "Hey, Mia, hey, Stokely." They're like, "Hey, Patrick." I was like, "Where do I'm like, I need to check in with like where extras check in. Where do I go?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, just follow us." So they walk me to the hallway. Walk in, Gunner.
Yep.
Right when I walk in, he's like, "What are you doing here, dude? What's up? Blah blah blah." Walk past Gunner. I introduced. I've met. What's the referee? Drake. I've met Drake Younger.
Yeah,
I've met Drake once, one other time. So he's introduced me to Drake. Hey, how you doing? Walk like 10 more feet. Martin Stone.
Yep.
Mate. Blah blah blah. So me and him talk. I talked to whatever the guy's name is that does the extra stuff. I can't remember his name. The guy that was the Money in California. They did the, God, I know you know him. He did the Wrestling Society X. Had like the X goatee. His name was like, I think it was like G Money in XPW.
Oh, I don't know.
He had the weird laugh. He's a short guy.
What does he do there?
He's like over the extra stuff.
Oh.
I assume. But
I should probably learn that.
then, yeah. But then, like, I see ACH.
Right.
God bless him. And he calls me over. Like, I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "What are you doing here?" Blah 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 blah. So I go. He walks me over to the sound stage. See like Shane and Austin Theory and like just a bunch of people I know. Trevor.
Yep.
And I say hey to all of them. Then talk with Gabe. Gabe gives me some instructions to watch. See how they do the production stuff. Then I ask Gabe. Then I go get something to eat after they go through all the production stuff. It's pretty cool watching how they do everything. Like there's Shawn Michaels and Hunter and and Regal and everybody. Then I go get something to eat. I ask Gabe where I need to watch it. He said in the auditorium where everybody else is watching. I sit with Karina, like Colby was there.
Right.
Sit with Colby, and then Steve comes up. Steve says, "Hey," I say to him. Everything changed when Roddy walked past me during the taping, and I was just sitting up there talking to the guy. I can't remember his name. He's like the guy that got hired that did the rap stuff.
Oh yeah.
The little guy with the glasses. And Roddy's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And picks me up, gives me a hug, and me and him talk for like 15 minutes, and everybody's like, "Who is this dude? Who is this dude?" Like looking like side-eyeing me.
The same thing to me at a house show.
Oh, I loved it. And then I was like, "Man, I'm not sitting here. I'm gonna go feel the atmosphere of this place." I flew all the way down here. I got to. So I walked. I found out that if you have a suit on, you can go wherever you want to there. Nice. If they've seen you like backstage.
Right.
So I just walk into the front and go and just stand for like 45 minutes and watch. So it's all over. Then it all finishes.
So wait, when you say you were in an auditorium, were you like in like one of the classrooms?
No,
Is it
you
like
do
that,
know. You know, like when they show the behind the scenes videos and they're all like the
like in the college classroom type setup.
Well, yeah. It's like the different tiers, and then they got the two big
And they
projection
show it on the
screens.
monitors?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like that's where the whole NXT crew watches when they're not in there because it's like very tight in the thing. So I walk over and then it's over with, and I say, I text Gabe and I'm like, "Hey man, do you need anything else?" Because I felt like I was in the way. I'm gonna get out of here, and never hear anything back. So I called Cade, who I was staying with. He comes in and picks me up. We go to Taco Bell, which is in like the same parking area, like parking lot. And I get a text from Gabe like, "Hey man, come behind Gorilla." And I was like, oh, okay. So Cade pulls out Taco Bell, goes back. I'm like, I'm sorry, Jason, just hang out. Which he lives like right down the street from Full Sail. So I go back. Gabe talks to me for a little bit. Then Regal walks by. Gabe's like, hey, Mr. Regal, I want to introduce you to Patrick. So Gabe introduced me to Regal. He's cool. Me and him talk for a minute.
Yep.
Then like Borash, which I had met Borash at WrestleCon a few years back.
Right.
I talked to him for a minute. Then Road Dogg comes up and introduces me to him, and he's like my kindred spirit. Like I wish, like I've tried to figure out how I can send him a message on like Twitter.
There's a button.
And I know I can't, because he doesn't follow me. So I can't, like, that's the new Twitter thing. But, yeah, like, dude, I talked to him for like 20, 30 minutes. Just,
Add him.
I did.
No, I'm saying add him. Like, be like, hey, man, trying to get a hold of you.
Oh, I might do that. But yeah, dude.
Let's DM.
But, okay. I'm not a Twitter guru.
Brian. Oh, like you were trying to explain Twitch earlier, and I'm like,
Yeah. I didn't know Twitch much until we started deciding we were going to do that. I knew Impact did it.
So it's like YouTube that you subscribe to, and I'm like,
And it's live. Everything's live. It's like a gaming thing. But
Fluff was trying to explain it to me. He's like, yeah, we gotta say our gamer tags. I was like, what?
but we
I'm a 31-year-old girl.
so I'm talking to him, and then I'm like, all right, Gabe, they're starting to pack everything out, like pull everything out. I was like, all right, Gabe, I'm going to get out of here because I do feel like I'm in the way. He's like, no, I'm going to introduce you to Hunter. And I was like, oh, okay. So then Hunter comes out, and he introduced me to Hunter. And like Hunter says like one sentence to me, and I'm like, what is life?
Yeah.
Like, because he walks up, he's a super nice guy. Walks up, and he's like, Hunter, this is Patrick. He does New Japan stuff, and he does PWX in North Carolina, et cetera, et cetera. And Hunter goes, New Japan, huh? And I was like, yes, sir. He's like, I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad to see you here. I hope to see you back. And just shakes my hand and then walks off with his like 4 bodyguards.
Nice.
Like he needs fucking bodyguards.
It truly is all about the game.
Yeah. It's like, does he pay them guys hourly?
God. Yeah.
But then I left, and that's like, it's a very anticlimactic story.
No,
but that's one of those. That's one of those like, how did I get here?
Dude, the amount of people, for what I watch NXT or AEW with the students sometimes before classes or whatever. Like, I can't watch a whole episode of NXT without there being a match that I've worked somebody in that match.
Yeah, I agree. Or somebody you worked with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's always somebody I've worked with, or like, you know, I've been around, or this and the other, and it's like, or I've shared a ring with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I got buddies that are there, and it's like one of them, we were talking one day or something, and we met up. I had a show in the town they were running in. And we met up afterwards and had dinner. And I was like, so when do you got to be back at the PC? And he was like, I got to be there at like 9 a.m. on Monday. I have a class with Shawn Michaels. I'm like, oh, what a tough day.
Oh, I know.
How hard you live.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like talking to him and stuff. And it's just like, I feel like everybody's having fun.
Yeah.
And we did I was at the Columbia house show the NXT did when they came through.
Oh, yeah.
And Brewer, I've been around Brewer for years.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and he was like, come back here. So we went back, and it was me, Morgan, and Lily, and my 3-year-old. And we're in the back and, like, just talking to Brewer for a minute because of the chaos. And Roddy walks by. And it was kind of like a cordial, like, hey, he stopped.
Yeah.
And he was like, Ethan? I was like, oh, well, that's cool. You know, like,
yeah.
They started talking. Like, we talked about our kids for.
Yeah. That's what me and him talked about.
And
Because
you know,
his son was running around with
know,
their nanny or whatever, somebody. Yeah.
Older Roddy
Yeah.
is completely different than Roddy
Yes.
now.
Agreed.
And, you know, he's awesome. Like, he's.
Yes.
You know, we did that. And then, like,
He's
I'm
in such a
back there
good
and
place. So happy.
Trevor walked by, stops and talks, Mia stopped, you know, and all this stuff. And then, like, Riddle, because a lot of people don't know this. I was one of Riddle's first matches because he was still training at Monster Factory, but we did the NWA Legends Fest in Charlotte.
Oh, I do remember because that's where I met Ross.
Yeah, Ross,
the guy from England.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Saxon Huxley.
Yeah,
there he goes. So, and you know, me and him roomed together for 2 or 3 years at that camp, and now he's on the UK program.
Yeah,
so it's insane. Me, him, and Brewer shared rooms.
Nice,
but. Dr. Tom was running matches, and he picked me and Riddle, and I had no idea. Like, I didn't really follow UFC. I had no clue who Riddle was.
Yeah.
He was a cool dude.
Yeah.
We would go to the little bar.
The same way.
Whatever.
The same way he is now.
Exactly, 100%.
What's up, bro?
And, like, I don't know if he remembers that or if he remembers me from, like, PWX.
Yeah.
But, like, it was the same thing. And it was, like, it was kind of when Morgan realized that he's not, like, a character per se. It was, like, he walked by, and it was like, hey, bro. And he stopped, and she goes, did he really say that, like, in real life?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he does. So then we had this moment, and Morgan, we got back to our seats, and she was kind of like struck by it, and she was like, "Do you realize like everybody that walked by stopped and like knows you?" I was like, "Yeah."
It's wild.
And she goes, "Then why the hell are you not working here?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's a very good damn question."
Yeah.
You know,
That's what's hard.
Yeah. It's not like necessarily the process that everybody thinks it is. It's not like a normal job. Like, you don't just throw in an application and they interview you and this and the other.
That's
like,
why. Like when I went down to NXT, everybody at my work was like, "Oh, you're following your dream. You're following your dream." I was like, "No, I am. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like this is just a small step in the process that might happen like years from now. This is just me showing face." And then I tell them about the New Japan stuff. What's so crazy about that is they'll like that's like more concrete with what me and Brian do because they use us and we've established a good relationship with them. And like everybody that I tell or I talk to about it is like, or that knows me and is like, I saw you were in New York last week and all this stuff. They're always gonna be like, is the thing you do New Japan? I saw it on TV at like 2 a.m. And I was just like, yeah, that's it. That's the same thing. But but that's like the stuff they do in Japan. And you're like, no. Like, were you doing that one? No, that was from Japan.
Yeah.
They were in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, we do the okay. But yeah, it's like, it's still mind-boggling that, like, I told Rocky this when I was talking to Rocky in Philadelphia.
He's one of my favorite dudes too.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Like, I love Rocky.
And like me and him talked more on the last tour than we've ever talked before. But I told him, I was like, listen, dude, like, thank you for the opportunity because whenever I put, like, if I were to write down who I thought I would work for, if I ever got this ridiculous opportunity, like New Japan wasn't even on the list because I didn't think there was ever like the ability to go to work for New Japan.
And, you know, like I know like surreal moment. You kind of forget it, like when we did the Charlotte Nashville shot with New Japan, right?
Yes.
We get done with these 2 days. They're long days. It's exhausting, blah, blah, blah. And then we're at Topgolf with the New Japan office. And I'm like there was a moment, like I looked at our group and I was like, should we be here?
Yeah. Like how, like how did, it's me, you, Billy, and Savannah.
Josh Powers.
And Josh Powers.
Yep.
And then Brian is hanging with the Japanese crew who has like 5 pictures. It's like 150. They close at 2 and they have like 5 pictures on their table.
Yeah. So we're drinking.
And they're like, I guess we got to drink up, guys.
Yeah. And like, there's this really awkward group photo of all of us.
I love it. It was my like cover photo forever.
And see that's one of the things like I tell my guys too, because like, you know, if you're doing this and you're actually like putting the effort into it, like you're chasing your dreams now. And I try to tell them like, and it's something that it took me forever to learn. For one, I try to teach my guys 10-year experience traits, so that when they start, they already have that advantage.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my guys are doing things that I didn't understand until almost a decade in. You know. Yeah, Brian has that picture.
Yes. I'll put it up.
We'll have to add it on there.
Yeah.
But I also tell them, like, when you start wrestling, it's not going to be your full-time job right off the bat. So what you should do is find a job that helps you with wrestling, because I am huge on work to live, not live to work.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I work for myself. I do this. Like, I love entrepreneurship. Like, I think it's a big thing. And, like, small things. I tell my guys to work at hotels. I tell my guys to work at airports.
Yeah.
I tell them to work at Enterprise.
Yeah.
stuff that you're going to get a discount for working there.
Yeah.
Which is going to help you on the road. The hotel's the best.
Oh, I think either hotel or airport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you get free flights.
I got 2 guys that are wanting to do a tag team thing, and I was like, well, one of you need to get a job at the airport. The other needs to get a job at a hotel.
Exactly. Be
Done and
set.
done. Bro.
Family flight. Family
I'm
discount
just going to
flights.
get Lily a job at the airport.
I feel like we'll end on this.
We done already?
Maybe we're an hour and 10 minutes in.
We're going to have to do a 14-part series.
Yeah,
We didn't
let's
even
do it.
touch on anything.
I know, we just talked. That's what this is about. We'll have episode part 2 later on this season.
When are we going to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
I don't know, whenever you want to. We'll start something for your little online thing.
Hey,
we
man.
do. I need to
that's a
set
big thing.
I need to set this up so we can just record stuff like when I'm home and you're at your house.
We can.
And we just set it up.
See
and,
that computer you're shooting this thing with? That pocket computer?
Yes.
They work like that.
Well, but I have to. There's a way that you can hook these mics up into your laptop, and you get like this quality.
Yeah, it's just like it's an adapter, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like anything crazy.
But like we talk about Rogan, and I listen to podcasts with people that have made it or people that are able to live their dreams, and you always hear them say like, it took me 10 or 15 years to get here.
Yeah.
Like, and
That's not always everyone. But
No.
For a majority, that is it.
I think that's
Like,
that's the norm. And I feel like this is my 15th year in professional wrestling.
Mine too.
and-
When did you start?
2000. It had to be 2005. No, 2004.
I
2004.
started my first
Maybe 2003.
my first pro match was January 24th, 2004,
I think mine was 2003.
against James Drake.
I don't
in
know.
front of-
I'm not gonna say it was a pro match.
in front of 3 people
I might have been in front of like 10.
in the four city National Guard Army.
Did you ever wrestle at HBW?
Yeah, a lot.
Did you with
Yeah.
Viper?
Oh yeah.
How many people were there? I wrestled some guy. Came out to AJ's music.
When I was there for Jesus. When I was there for a while, like it was doing decent. It was like 50, 60. But
Okay.
for us, like I lived in Hendo at the time, so it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of places do that, man. Like a lot of places, they run weekly or bi-weekly.
Yeah.
And they're a black hole.
Yes.
And it's hard. Like there's Georgia guys.
Yes.
That are like that.
Yes.
You know, and they get stuck. And you know, like thankfully, guys are starting to kind of understand. Like, I mean, like if you just want to do it on the weekends in your hometown, cool, that's fine. But like you can get out and chase this stuff,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Easily.
I'm a big dream chaser.
Yeah.
Like I'm big.
I'm with you 100%. I guess it's the same concept. I don't consider myself a dream chaser. I'm a big proponent, and you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, as long as you put in the work.
Yeah, you just have to find a way to do it.
Do you listen to Gary Vee?
No. Who's Gary
Bro,
Vee?
what? You don't listen to Gary
Maybe.
Vee?
I might know who you're talking about. I just don't
Gary
know.
Vaynerchuk. He's a motivational speaker. Oh, I'm about to change your life.
Is he the
man.
guy that cusses all the time?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, man, he is so good. Like he puts out a daily thing.
He's got like short salt and pepper hair.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I know who you're talking about. I never knew his name.
When he does his podcast, he has a shelf and it's all like Hasbro's and LJNs.
Nice.
And like a belt, like a replica belt and stuff. But man, like he's a big, like Owen Knight and I trade memes of him.
Gotcha.
Back and forth all day, just to, just small stuff like that, just to pick guys up and.
Well, it's just like I wanted a clothing company,
Yeah.
so I started Strong Style Life,
Yep.
and it was successful for
I
like 2
remember.
years.
I wasn't sponsored, but I get it.
I hate you. You're
You're a little too sports entertaining.
like me and my buddy Nick Clemency and
Dude.
Marcellus, Nick King
I
did
love
the
it.
comedy
I
music
love
stuff.
it. Your whole little group,
Oh, the comedy group.
yeah, so good.
The problem is we all have kids now.
And I love them as humans.
Which ones?
I love
You know Joel
Marcellus.
too, right?
Joel,
Joel and Nick.
Nick.
Yeah.
Because
It's a good
was
crew.
it Joel or Nick that did the intro for the circus?
Nick.
Nick.
Yeah.
Man, that dude is fun. He was at the last
Dude,
PWX show.
yes, him
he
and
walked
Joel.
He walked in, and I was like, oh, somebody's bodyguard's here.
He's a big dude.
And he walked up and he just like hugged me, and I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Dude, I know we're going to go on for like another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But a funny story about that is we were at my house. Like, this is when we were doing the Cane Punch album. We were at my house, and me and Marcellus had to do a promo for PWX because Caleb and Zane had quit. So I came up with the idea of me and Marcellus would do the circus gimmick until I can talk Caleb into coming back. Because Cedric was like on the hiatus too or something.
yeah, that was Dawn of a New Day.
Yes.
It was that time.
And
Because I did the tag match with
Chip and Cedric. Yeah. That was my last match ever.
Yeah.
Because Cedric knocked me
I
out.
remember. I remember.
Yeah.
I was there.
Like turned my whole mask around.
Yep.
But Nick, we were sitting there, and I was like, Nick Clemency, I said, can you film this promo for us that we got to do? We're going to just do it in the room. It's in my old house. And he's like, yeah. And then we filmed it. He goes, you know what you need? You need to let me be your manager. And he goes, I got this idea. And I was like, no, absolutely not, Nick, because then we're going to have to get you paid, and we're going to have to convince people for them to pay you. He's like, I don't need to get paid. I just want to let me do it a few times.
And the cool thing, it was kind of like a pre-Carney's Carney type
yeah,
deal, man.
exactly.
It was really good.
And I said, no. And he goes, and Nick King is like, just let him do it. Just let him film it.
Do I need to turn this car around?
Yeah. Do we need to turn this car around?
I brought my car.
And Nick King's like, just let him do it. And I said, well, just do it for me real quick. And he did the voice. Mm-hmm. Like, oh,
Yeah.
shit. And I was like, yes. Somebody get the camera. We need to film this right now.
And sometimes that's the best stuff that happens, man. Like,
And then he did like the 2 spots in PWX where he'd come out, and then we did TransUnion, what's his name's company was in Union, South Carolina. Yeah, it was trash. We did one, but he did like a pre-recorded intro for it.
Gotcha.
And
And I'm gonna tell you, like twice a year, I have like a little conversation with Marcellus.
oh, dude, I love Marcellus.
I love him, man. Like we did a little thing at CWF one time, but like I always just enjoy being around Marcellus.
I don't even know. Like he worked. Like me and him became real close in Evo
Yeah.
because he was like one of my main people in Evo.
Right.
And then he found out that me and Nick did music. He's like, I want to do that. So like, okay, well, you just come in. And dude, that album, which isn't even, I don't think it's even available anymore. That album was probably the funnest 6 months of my entire creative life.
I want it. I know you got it somewhere.
I do. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll send you like a zip file.
Yeah, let's do
with
it.
all. Oh yeah. Okay.
Let's do that.
They're all. I mean, if I listen to it now, it's trash. Not the concept, but like that mixing and all and mastering is just garbage.
No, that's fine.
But I was listening to it the other day on my phone. But I have all the MP3s.
And I know this is like off subject. I had there was one point in time I worked at a moonshine distillery, right? And I worked with these 2 guys, and like we really got along. One of the guys was like the master distiller, and one guy was his assistant. And we all just like hung out all the time, this, that, and the other. And we would sit around, we would talk about like what we're doing, what we're chasing, and how similar everything is. It's really weird.
Yeah.
One of the guys, his name's Derek Dorsey. He's like he was doing like he's like a country acoustic musician or whatever. And the other guy, Dalton, he wanted to be a chef.
Gotcha.
And he was really focused on culinary and this, that, and the other. So I kept up with these guys later on down the road. Well, like Derek moved to Panama City, and he's like the go-to to play Margaritaville for Jimmy Buffett.
Wow.
Like he does all the big events for them. He does his own concerts and this and the other.
That's crazy.
And then Dalton moved to Colorado and works at this big, like, restaurant scene in Denver or outside of Denver or whatever. Like he's always posting, they go into these competitions and winning this stuff and this, that, and the other. And like it's so insane that like to know other people that are grinding in different things, because a lot of times in wrestling, the only thing we know are wrestlers. Yeah. Like outside life doesn't really happen, because like people say this to me all the time, and it drives me insane. They're like, oh, well, like say if you work Monday to Friday, right? And they're like, oh, well, you get the weekends off. I wouldn't say it's off. No. Because I'm in a car for 15 hours one way. I wrestle twice. 7 days a week. And then I drive 15 hours back to be here at 6 a.m. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you went to bed last night watching HBO.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you the last time I did that.
I fell asleep because I drove the last leg home, and then it took me 2 hours to wind down.
I don't even remember the last 2 hours of that leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so insane to have people's prerogative on that, because like so many people are sheepish and they get caught up in the machine, and it's more so like they work for somebody else their entire life, and they only work for that, and they're working for a check. Yeah. And I listened to this guy recently. He said the worst thing that can ever happen to you is someone pays you with a check.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they pay you with a check, it's addictive because you understand that there's constant money coming in. And it's like, oh, I can go in and just kind of half-ass this job and they'll still pay me.
Yeah.
But like with all of our stuff, like we have to grind. Like Morgan is doing a craft business now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all like vinyl stuff, this, that, and the other, but she's doing custom Christmas ornaments and like elves for the
Dude,
kids.
Morgan's
and all that
entrepreneur.
stuff. Yeah.
All day,
and,
every day.
You know, a lot of people don't, I mean, like we're not very like private about it or anything like that, but like, Sterling has a kidney disease.
Yeah.
So literally, she's not just like a stay-at-home mom, but like she has at least 8 therapy appointments we have a week.
Yeah.
On top of specialists and this, that, and the other, and
Dude, I couldn't imagine. Like, I'm so lucky because Garrison has minimal stuff.
we were like that with Lily was like primo.
Yeah.
She didn't have any problems.
Yeah.
And then like, with Sterling, it's been like more of an adjustment. But you know what, dude, like they told us, hey, it's gonna be something he has his whole life. It's something he's gonna deal with. But dude, he is so happy.
Yeah.
He just pisses all the time.
Yeah.
That's it. Like if all I gotta do is change diapers, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And like Morgan and I, it was a real like surreal moment for us because when they first diagnosed him, we thought I got on him. I was a real shitty husband. There was a point in time where like, because he'll fill up an entire diaper. It's old and wears a size 4 because it holds more.
Yeah.
And he'll fill up a whole diaper in like 25 minutes. So
this is the dad talk portion of the podcast.
I just imagine like the young guys listening for wrestling advice. They're like, fast forward.
Yeah.
But there was one day I came home and I was like, Morgan, how long has it been since you changed him?
Yeah.
And she was like, literally 30 minutes. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, look at this diaper.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what was going on. So we took him
gotcha.
to go get checked out. And then they rushed him and did all these emergency tests and this, that, and the other. And like, thankfully, it's not his kidneys aren't failing.
Yeah.
They just don't process.
Yeah.
So, he's happy as can be. But whenever we went to the hospital that time to do all those emergency tests, they were like, what floor? I was like, what floor are we on? And it was 4th floor. Well, the Children's Hospital, the 4th floor is the cancer floor.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as they told Morgan that, it was like, oh shit. Like,
It hit you.
yeah. And when we finally got the diagnosis of like what it was and like what we were gonna have to do and this, that, and the other, like it's actually what he has is so rare that they told us like, hey, we have this one medicine. The medicine didn't work. And the doctors are like, so look, we don't know.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened.
Yeah. God,
But
and that's scary too.
and when we got the diagnosis and we looked into it and everything, we realized it's not terminal. It's not anything like that. It's just something we're gonna have to deal with. And I told Morgan, I was like, and she was so upset. And I was like, do you understand that on this floor,
Yeah.
there's some people that won't get to take their kids home.
Yeah.
So like we can look at it as
You
a
have to
negative,
stay-
or we
yeah.
can look at it as a positive. And thankfully,
And
she
you'll
doesn't have
also,
that mindset anymore.
I feel like you'll also, we always underestimate how resilient they are, like kids are.
yeah.
It's insane.
And I'll tell you, dude, like Lily and Brenna are such good big sisters, dude.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I feel like Lily thinks that she's the parent, and she
That's
like tries
awesome.
to, but like my kids are really involved with wrestling. Lily,
That's awesome because they love, because like I'll bring Cy, and I'm so scared that he's just going to like choke some kid out at school the next
we're
week.
gonna have to homeschool Lily, man, because that's not gonna happen. Like she walks into class and the guys will be standing around talking. And that's like 30 minutes before class, and she'll just walk in and be like, "Stop talking and start stretching." I'm like,
That's awesome.
why do I pay the rent if you're just gonna come teach? Like,
Yeah.
She gets in there and does her rolls and stuff.
The good
with
thing
the
is Cy, like I've brought Cy to maybe 4 or 5 wrestling shows, and he's always like 2 matches in. He's like, "Where's my phone?"
Where's my phone? That's I know
I'm
they're
playing.
not gonna be able to see it on here, but I got to show you this picture real quick. Like this kid has an amazing arm bar. Like, and she does this creepy smile with it.
Oh, this is
Look, she has her hook set in. Like she taps Fluff out. Like she don't play.
Fluff tapping out.
Yeah, and she'll sit there and smile.
That's amazing.
And it's just so cool to have the kids so involved and love something that I love.
Yeah.
And it's not forced on them. Like I would never force wrestling on the kids or anything like that. But if we don't go to a show, like literally every day, if I walk in the door, if I'm starting to pack a bag, and she'll go, "All right, time to go to wrestling school."
That's
and
crazy.
she goes and hangs out, man, and she just.
Another
sits
crazy
on the
thing is I
lanes.
remember when she was born. I remember when she was the little one that you
Baby
carried
K's,
around. Yeah.
And
God.
then, right? It's so wild, man. And
Who would have thought?
yeah,
2 dads sitting here after
Yeah.
wrestling shit
just
on a
dadding it
podcast.
up.
All right. Well, these guys are.
Brian's so upset that we're still talking.
Yeah, I know.
I just want to lock my
He
belt.
acts like he's got something to do.
Yeah. I got to go press these khakis.
We're gonna end on that.
How I have a job baffles me. Like the amount of times
How
that
he
I've had
keeps
to
me
yell at
around
Brian
baffles me. But yeah, dude. Thanks for sitting and talking to me.
Of course.
We need to.
Love you, bud.
We're gonna start a motivational podcast.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I mean, like I do some.
Do you?
In
Oh,
my-
would
in
you
my
on your
online
thing?
school. Yeah, in
Yes.
online school
I need
I
to do
do.
some stuff for your online school.
Yeah,
We'll
you
talk about
do
that when we get
something.
there.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, bud.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to the Chewsday Special Podcast. Find all of our old episodes at ChewsdaySpecials.com.
That's ChewsdaySpecial.com.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.